Yeah, the big one tonight is our famous boneless smoked pork chop with a jumbo baked potato, a veggie, and a dinner roll, and it's only $5. You can get it for dine-in, get it for carry-out, but the big thing is it's an awesome dinner for only $5.
I saw on a sign right as I was walking in the door that you guys have a pretty cool deal on Chinese as well tonight. So
yeah,
you do have that. You want to
pork chops aren't your thing? You get a 2-entree meal. They're buy one, get one free tonight. So one for tonight, one for tomorrow. Maybe 2 people get to enjoy the meal. It doesn't matter. It's buy one, get one free. It's an awesome, awesome deal. We haven't run it for a while, but it's been very popular thus far today.
It's been very busy in here as well. Yes. So with that being the case, of course, we have a great show lined up, but it's always a show here at your hometown Oskaloosa Hy-Vee. Cleat, most importantly, we have the September deals that we kicked off since the last time we had our show. What are some of the main deals that we have here at your hometown Oskaloosa Hy-Vee during September?
So just to remind everybody, on our September deals, we have General Mills cereal. There are 3 boxes for $5. We have red seedless grapes for just 88 cents a pound. We also have Oscar Mayer hot dogs for 99 cents. My personal favorite, boneless New York strip steaks, 8 ounces. They're only $3.99 each, so pretty much every night can be steak night for $3.99 a steak. But we also have Cottonelle bath tissue, 12 double roll for $3.99, 24-pack Hy-Vee water for just $1.78. I had to buy 1.5 semi-loads of that just to hopefully keep up with how much we're going through. And then last but not least, we have 24 packs of Busch Light. They're $13.99, but a special deal we have going on with our friends at Anheuser-Busch. So if you buy $4 worth of ground beef from our meat department service case, you're going to get the case of beer for just $9.99.
Okay.
Radio silence.
You can't beat these deals.
That's
okay,
an incredible deal.
I say that, but like you literally cannot beat that deal because then you can just grill out and enjoy, your tailgate on Saturday at whatever game you're going to. You got the Iowa State game. You can get that all for ultra cheap and save money on each other while you're buying it. It's impossible. And
you're going to buy the ground beef at some point anyway, so you might as well come in, fill up your freezer, load up on the Busch Light. It's an absolutely amazing deal.
Yeah, every week you continue to surprise me, and you did give me a little hint that next week's meal is a never done before meal here on a Thursday night.
It's a first time dinner for us.
I cannot wait to hear about it.
But you're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves because we do have a 3-day sale that started today.
I can't handle the anticipation, Cleet, I'm telling you.
So we got a couple of awesome deals. The sale started today. It's Good Friday and Saturday. We have Pepsi 6-packs that are 4 for $8. That's a really good deal. But the biggest one I found is I got a special buy on Hamburger Helper. So it's in our ad for 77 cents a box with a 1-cent fuel saver. But I've got a big display of it, so it's like the top 6-7 best sellers. They have coupons on them for $1 off 2 boxes. So you're essentially getting it for 27 cents a box plus a penny fuel saver. Yeah, 27 cents a box. That's incredible.
Okay, so
my wife doesn't like Hamburger Helper, but she's going to learn to like it for 27 cents a box.
I mean, that's almost a week's worth of meals for less than $2.50. So that tells you exactly what you need to know about that. Now, I can't wait any longer. What's the meal next week?
So we got a great deal on ribeyes. So when we get a great deal, our customers get a great deal. So next week we're going to have an 8-ounce ribeye with our jumbo baked potato, a veggie, and Texas toast for only $8.
OMG.
Yep.
Okay, so what you're telling me is that you can buy ground beef and you can get a crate of beer basically for $10. You can also get a Hamburger Helper for 27 cents with a cent fuel saver tacked onto that.
Yep.
And I can come get an $8 meal with an 8-ounce ribeye as the centerpiece.
That's the centerpiece. And another thing I've noticed too is a lot of times when we do these dinners, I don't see a ton of kids. And then I get thinking, I have kids and they don't eat New York strips. They don't eat a lot of pork chops and things like that. So next week too, we're also going to do a kids meal. For $5, kids get a hamburger and french fries. So now the folks can come in, eat an awesome steak dinner for $8, and then there's a meal for the kids too.
Always innovative here at your hometown Oskaloosa Hy-Vee. Cleet, as always, you keep outdoing yourself. You are the madman of Oskaloosa.
I try.
That is Cleet Yorth. He is our store director here at your hometown Oskaloosa Hy-Vee. We have a big show for you. Later on in the show, William Penn University head football coach Todd Hafner. We'll talk a little bit of cross country, Oskaloosa cross country coach Mike Comfort. We'll also be chatting with Eddyville, Blakesburg, Fremont volleyball coach Gladys Jinsko. But our first interview tonight, after the break, we'll be talking about CrossFit. Yes, CrossFit. Vincent Ramirez, an Oskaloosa native, is going to be joining us to talk all about it when we return right here on the Hy-Vee Homestretch on the No Coast Network.
If you like to save money and save time, then this is what you'd call a really big deal. HyVeeDeals.com is where you'll find hundreds of deals, all on one mobile-friendly website. HyVeeDeals.com makes saving money easy with digital coupons, weekly ads, fuel savers, and more. For one-stop savings, start here. Get all the latest deals at HyVeeDeals.com today. Celebrate National Family Meals Month and save at Hy-Vee. Boneless top loin pork chops, 5 for $5, plus a 5-cent fuel saver. Hy-Vee green beans or corn, just 29 cents. Dole shredded lettuce, 88 cents. Gala apples, just 99 cents a pound. And get Hy-Vee yogurt for only 50 cents. Buy 10 to earn a 10-cent fuel saver. Help victims of Hurricane Harvey. Donate $1 at checkout, and Hy-Vee will match up to $100,000.
Welcome back. We are live at your hometown Oskaloosa Hy-Vee on the Hy-Vee Homestretch, and my first guest this evening is a CrossFit athlete and a senior at Oskaloosa High School. His name is Vincent Ramirez. And Vincent, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
All right, first things first. I've been trying to get you in here for weeks, but the first thing we need to talk about is you had a little bit of a setback as soon as you got done with this year's CrossFit Games. We'll talk all about that in a little bit, but how's the injury? I know you hurt your hip, but you walked in here on your own 2 feet, no crutches, no wheelchair, anything. How's the rehab and the injury going?
It feels good. Like, the doctors have been giving me good news and everything about that, and like they said I don't need physical therapy or rehab, and like the CrossFit will be like my physical therapy, and like just keeping it in motion and stuff like that, stretching it and stuff like that will just keep me going pretty much. All
right, well, that's good news. I know you were a football player. You actually were the leading tackler for Oskaloosa football last year, a big loss for the Indians on the gridiron, but your claim to fame around these parts is the fact that you're a great athlete. Anybody who's seen you play football since your freshman year can say that, but CrossFit is your thing. For those, I also do CrossFit, but I would never be able to explain it as well as you could. So for those who are a little, we've heard the name CrossFit, we're not sure what CrossFit is. How can you best explain what CrossFit is and what you do in CrossFit?
It's just a combination of everything, like gymnastics, weightlifting, powerlifting, everything like that, like cardio. It's just a combination of everything.
Yeah, so when you talk about being a CrossFit athlete and completing the CrossFit Games, you get tested with your strength, your endurance, a lot of mental strength as well to get through some of those workouts. So to qualify for the CrossFit Games, there are several steps that you have to do. So first of all, you need to get yourself in shape to be able to do the full workouts, because there's always scaling options for those of us that can't do the full workouts. But you have to do the full workout. After you do the full workout, then you have to compete in what they call the Open, and then you advance to the regionals, and then you advance to the CrossFit Games. So take me through, you've been to the CrossFit Games a couple of times. You actually were the fittest teen on earth a couple of years ago. So explain that process of how you prepare for that, and then when you get into February and March doing those open workouts, and how you qualify to get to the CrossFit Games.
What we do, like on the off season, we bulk up. Like we try to gain some weight and stuff like that, and like get our lifts a lot heavier. But once it hits like February and all that, when the Open starts, we start hitting a lot of cardio, and like we stop weightlifting, not completely, but we don't do it as much. But then we start like running like at least like 12 miles a week, rowing, biking, and all that, like intervals all day, every day.
So that's the preparation. Then you have to log your times for the workouts. Everybody in the world is doing the same workouts and logging them. And then you qualify for the regionals. You then, and some of the other great athletes that are around the world, qualify for the Reebok CrossFit Games. And this year they were in Madison, Wisconsin. You bumped up an age group, so you were in the 16-year-old and 17-year-olds. And after being the fittest teen on earth the previous year, you were up against some of the high talent, some of the big prospects that are trying to break into the CrossFit Games. And this is a big deal. A lot of people might think CrossFit Games, that, a competition for people working out, but people don't realize how big of a deal that was in Madison. So take us through your experience up there this year.
It was a great experience. Like, I think it was the best year for me, experience-wise. Like, I loved traveling with my best friend Will, and like my coaches Jason, and my supporters like Renee, and a lot of other people like my mom and dad. It's just so much fun, and like it's weird to think about. Like, I like to watch people work out, but that's my passion. I can't do anything about it. But just every year it gets harder and harder. Like, this year is definitely the hardest year. There's a lot of more competition this year, going against older people, stuff like that. And I did the best I could do. and I'm happy with it.
Yeah,
You
finished in 5th place, but if you look at it, you won the previous year at the 14-15 age group. You were 1st place for everybody that was your age, the 16-year-olds. You'll be back in that age group again, and pretty much everybody around you in the top 10 were all 17-year-olds, and they'll be moving into the actual big class with all the top athletes like the Matt Frazier's of the world. So take me through what you felt performance-wise and how you accomplished, because 5th place, especially with nothing but older kids in front of you and behind you, that's quite the accomplishment.
It was crazy. Like, the workouts, I did a lot better than I thought I would do. Like in the cardio workouts, like the run, swim, run. Like I was so scared for a swim because I never swam in open water before. But I was like, you just got to keep on moving. You can't really stop. And then the running workouts, obviously everyone knows I hate running. But I did a lot better than I did last year. I placed in the top 10 in the running workouts, which is a lot better than I thought I would have done. I thought I would get like 15th, 16th. But it's just, I can tell I improved a lot. And next year is going to be a lot of fun, especially with, coming back from this injury. It's going to be a lot of challenges, but I'm going to accept the challenges and go for it. But those kids are going to train just as hard as I am, so it's not for sure for anything. So I'm going to keep on training as hard as I can.
Looking to become the fittest teen on earth and a different age group for the 2nd time. So you're just now starting the process. You never want to get hurt, but this injury couldn't have happened really at a better time to give you plenty of time to get ready for the Open again coming up after the 1st of the year. So with all that being said, take us through some of your favorite workouts and favorite movements that you do in CrossFit. And when you see that up on the board of this is today's workout, your eyes light up and you're really excited to go work out.
I like gymnastics, like muscle-ups and all that. Anything on a bar or anything with a barbell, like I'll have fun doing. Clean and jerk, snatches, I love those lifting. I love lifting in general. It's one of my favorite things to do. And give me a cardio piece, I'll hate my life for a good 10 minutes, but give me lifting, I'll be happy for a good hour. Awesome,
man. Well, that's cool and all, but you can see if you're watching us here at your hometown Oskaloosa Hy-Vee, you're still a senior. You started your senior year at Oskaloosa High School. So while you've been, going to the CrossFit Games and being named the fittest teen on planet Earth and, competing against some of the greatest athletes in the world, you still have had classes. You still are, you played football last year, like I said, and you were the leading tackler for Oskaloosa. You've done a lot of different things and trying to balance that as well. So how has that balance been? Your CrossFit's really a Vincent thing, whereas you still are part of a team. You still have to do stuff with the team. You also are trying to do things like graduate high school. So take me through kind of how you've been able to balance that the last couple of years.
I don't know. It was just, I've started homeschooling sophomore year because I really wanted to focus on training for CrossFit. And then homeschooling really helped in a big part of like getting training and then be able to play football. And like, I love football. It's so much fun. We're a family. Like, there's nothing else we can say. Like, it's just making time for it. Like, you'll make time for things you want to do. And I'll do like school, I'll work out, school, and go to football practice. And then it's just repeat over and over. It's just how bad do you want? How bad are you willing to push?
You're a senior this year, and I know you were a big part of Oskaloosa going 7-3 last year and making the playoffs. You want nothing more than to be back on the field. I saw you at the Grinnell game last week, and it's good to see you walking around. I remember when you told me you got hurt, you just got out of surgery, and you were thinking you're pretty much done, but your progress has been, like you talked about, you've gotten a lot of good news on where your progress is. Now, I don't want to put you on the spot of like, oh yeah, I'm going to play during this time, but I know you want to get back at some point this year and try to help this team and at least be out there in pads at least one more time while you're in high school. So kind of what is your goals and your timetable that you have for yourself, and what are you hoping to do this fall yet, even though you are nursing an injury?
I really want to play one more game for my senior year, I'll tell you that. It's really like, we don't know when I'll be back or for sure, but doctor said 12-week at the beginning, but then I'm healing really fast, so I'm hoping maybe around 9 or 10. And I just really want to be back on that field with my friends, and like senior year, I want to do something big.
Well, you have this, and then you're going to be directing your attention back toward the Open after the first of the year. Then you're going to hopefully next August be competing again in the CrossFit Games and looking to be the fittest teen on earth. After that, what's next for Vincent Ramirez? What kind of plans do you have after high school?
I really want to. I'm going to go to college and focus on like trying to open a business, because I really want to own a gym when I'm older. and I really want to train CrossFit, like do a CrossFit coach, because that's like my passion. Like I'm okay with competing, but in the long run, I want to coach. Like I want to coach people. I love watching people get better, helping people get better, like chasing their dreams and like their fitness. Like just seeing people like get better just makes me happy and smile.
Well, that's going to be awesome to follow. We're going to have you back on as you get closer to the Open because this is really cool. Not many times do you get a chance to say you know somebody who's accomplished something on a national or worldwide level. You have been able to do that as the fittest teen on earth, 5th place this year in a higher age group. Yep. You're going to be one of the favorites next year to be the fittest teen on earth again. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
And good luck getting the injury back. Hopefully we see you on the field later this year.
Thank you.
All right, that is Vincent Ramirez, CrossFit athlete here from Oskaloosa. We'll take a break. When we come back, we are going to talk William Penn University football. Head coach Todd Hafner will be joining me right after this, right here on the HyVeeHomestretch on the No Coast Network.
If you like to save money and save time, then this is what you'd call a really big deal. HyVeeDeals.com is where you'll find hundreds of deals, all on one mobile-friendly website. HyVeeDeals.com makes saving money easy with digital coupons, weekly ads, fuel savers, and more. For one-stop savings, start here. Get all the latest deals at HyVeeDeals.com today. Celebrate National Family Meals Month and save at Hy-Vee. Boneless top loin pork chops, 5 for $5, plus a 5-cent fuel saver. Hy-Vee green beans or corn, just 29 cents. Dole shredded lettuce, 88 cents. Gala apples, just 99 cents a pound. And get Hy-Vee yogurt for only 50 cents. Buy 10 to earn a 10-cent fuel saver. Help victims of Hurricane Harvey. Donate $1 at checkout, and Hy-Vee will match up to $100,000.
We're back here live at your hometown, Oskaloosa Hy-Vee. Still plenty of time to come out and enjoy the dinners that are available for you tonight. But if you're not going to make it out, be sure to tune into our interviews, next of which, one of my old friends, Todd Hafner, William Penn University football coach. How's it going, Coach?
Great, going great.
It's going a lot better than you probably was this time last week.
Yeah.
Picked up the W, number 12 team in the nation in NAIA Missouri Valley. You went to Marshall, Missouri, you got that road win, and you are in the win column ahead of your home opener against Mid-American Nazarene, who we know you guys play classic games every single year. So with that being the case, how you feeling 2 weeks into the season? Just generally, as a coach, you have expectations, but how do you feel the team's performed the first 2 weeks?
Well, we have a good football team, and it's a lot of fun right now because our kids know we're going to win. They go in to not only every game but every week preparing to give ourselves an opportunity to win. And we have a great group of kids. We have a great group of upperclassmen. We have some really good, freshmen and newcomers. And right now it's just a lot of fun to coach them because they're attentive. They want to learn. They want to get better, and they want to win. And we know because of that we've got a chance to win a lot of games.
First question I asked you as the season approached was your quarterback situation, and you said we have like 5 guys who really could be in the mix, and that included last year's starter for opening week was Eric Cooper. You had a couple ideas of who might end up being that starter, but due to one thing or another, we saw Eric Cooper go out there week number 1. You guys played a hard-fought game against the 2nd-ranked team in the nation, come up just short of pulling off a huge upset despite not having a great offensive game. Then you go down to Marshall, Missouri, lead for pretty much the whole game, and end up pulling off a win with a Newton native, Tyler Wood, playing in the quarterback spot. I look at the 2 deep that SID Wade Steinlage sent me, and Jonathan Thomas is the QB on the list. Having talked to you, having talked to other coaches, you figure Thomas is probably that guy from week 1. I know maybe some eligibility issues have slowed him down, but now you're going to be starting 3 different quarterbacks the first 3 weeks. You're a top 25 team in the nation. You win this week, you know you're still going to be a top 25 team in the nation. And you are starting your 3rd quarterback in as many weeks. So how fluid has that situation been, and how much did you know each week, and what can you say about these guys and just being ready when their name was called?
Well, the bad thing about it is we knew Jonathan was probably going to be our starter. We named him our starter before, the week before our first game. We had some eligibility issues through the NAIA clearinghouse. Not that we didn't know if he was going to be eligible or not. We knew he was going to be eligible, but at the clearinghouse they have some issues with staffing and things like that, and they just don't process things very quick. And he had all of his stuff in the week before the first game, and it didn't get processed, and it was still sitting in there the week before the second game and still didn't get processed. And you know, that second week before Missouri Valley, we really thought he was going to be our starter. He took all the 1 reps all week. Eric Cooper had come down with a little bit of a heart condition that we were concerned about, which has since been diagnosed as, you know, something that he can go ahead and play with. And so we went into the game Saturday with Tyler Wood, and he took a total of 8 total snaps during practice last week and went out and performed fantastic. And
I mean, I can attest to the fact that this kid is an insane athlete.
Oh, yeah, one of the top 5 athletes on our team, and I tell everybody that's no secret. And went out and we really didn't change much in our game plan. We just said go out and have fun and execute it, and he did a great job. And you know, it helps that he's been here for a few. You know, this is his 3rd year here, and you know, he's been doing it for 3 years. So the fact that when we put him out there, we knew he would know what to do. But he showed a great deal of athleticism on a lot of plays, and you know, he made some mistakes, but that, you know, it goes with the territory. And you know, we're super excited for the depth we have at quarterback now, and we're really excited to be able to go see JT play. Yeah,
and so that is going to be the case. So if you can't make it to Lacey Recreation Complex, find a way to, or you know, check out the live video that's going to be on statesmanathletics.com. You only had him throw 5 times, but that's not irregular considering the fact that you're a triple option offense and you rely mainly on the legs of your quarterback and just making good reads and good decisions. You look at your fullbacks, this is my #1 thing. In the triple option offense, your fullback has to be a legitimate threat. And you have every single year had multiple guys who fit that bill. And Amos Johnson and Nate Van Velheisen literally are as good a tandem as you've had in that fullback spot that I've seen for sure. So with that being your position right now, your backfield is taking a load off of needing to worry about what's happening in that quarterback spot. Another item that can take a little bit off of your mind is the fact that your defense has a lot of good athletes on there. You had some important holes to fill. I talked to the defensive coordinator, Clayton Norberg, on this show last week, and he liked the way the team played and some of the big plays they were able to make against Baker. How did you feel the defense performed in week 2? Oh, fantastic. They were so good. And, you know, we put our defense in some bad spots offensively, you know, especially there late in the game when, you know, you start to get a little bit tired, you start to get a little bit worn down. We turned it over twice, and which is very uncharacteristic of, you know, the guys that did that. But our defense stepped up big. You know, they gave up the 1 touchdown late, but it was one of those things that they continue to perform at a very high level. They're very skilled. We're stronger than we've ever been as far as physically strong. We're as fast as we've ever been on defense. And to be honest with you, we match up really well against teams that like to spread the ball all over the place and throw it all over, because we think we match up very well against that. This team that you have right now, you couldn't hide the excitement you had when you named the recruiting class, and it feels like every year you feel that way. The way this is set up, and I can say it as much as I want, but people may not digest it. You obviously want to win every game, but it's really your last 5 games of the year that are of the utmost importance. Much like our high school teams that have a couple of non-district games to get ready for the district play, only your district record matters in terms of making the playoffs and getting you to the postseason. So I know that you want to put your best team out there, and I know that you want to put your team in a position to win every week. This is going to be a challenging game, and then you kind of get the lower third of the South Division the last 3 weeks of this crossover play. Is there some level of just trying to see what some of the players are and kind of what might work against some of these opponents? Because there are a few teams, the Benedictines, obviously the Grandviews, that are going to give you plenty of things to think about before you play them in the important games later this season. Are there any things that you're trying to kind of see what you have here in the early weeks? I know these are tough opponents to kind of see that, but, what kind of element do you have in that and trying to get ready for actual division play? You know, Emery, you know, I hate to put it this way, but we really don't we try not to think like that. You know, it's so important, and you know, you talked about winning the last 5 games as the conference, you know, but the way the national ratings go, we really can't afford to go out and stub our toe too many times. You know, we were fortunate last year in that after we lost our first 3 games, we were able to reel off, you know, 7 in a row to give ourselves a chance. You know, and even at that wasn't going to be a guarantee, even if we won our last 5 games. So, you know, obviously this week's important, but you know,
winning as many games as you can, and putting yourselves, where you need to be in the ratings is obviously the most important thing. And so, we don't talk about that. We try. We do have some young kids playing right now. That when our other kids get back, Josh Vasquez is going to be coming back from an injury this week, and we've had to play a freshman in his spot. Rashad Ali's played fantastic. I mean, really stepped up. Had an interception last week, and the week before against Baker really made some good plays. And so we've had to play some young kids in some tight situations, and they've stepped up and played great. So what we're doing right now is we're building depth for not only the future, but we're building depth for later on down the road here. And so, having to play 3 quarterbacks may at some point help us. We sure hope not, but the way our seasons have gone in past years, we've needed 2 or 3. And so the fact that we've already played them and they have game experience may help us down the road. So, we're looking week to week. I hate to be, redundant with that, but the situation we're in with having to win every week, if we don't prepare for this one and we get upset, then it's really going to hurt us.
You're right. So maybe you're getting a look at some of these young guys more out of necessity than you are just trying to experiment a little bit.
And to their credit, they've stepped up and made big plays and really helped us win. Really helped us win last week.
And if you look at the box score, really, this is a team that just. There's so many new names I'm trying to learn.
Right.
Just looking at who's the leading tacklers, who's making the big plays defensively, and that's exciting. Knowing that the success is still there while you continue to develop these younger players. So now we get to Mid-Am NAS, and if anybody's been following William Penn football since we got to the Heart of America Athletic Conference, you guys played them to a 3-overtime game 2 years ago and ended up walking them off with a touchdown from Tyler Hafner to Jatavius Stewart. And then last year you guys had a lead, and they were able to come back on their home field and steal that game late. And that makes it a really tough trip, obviously, to go down to Olathe, Kansas and have that happen to you. But at the same time, it's a situation where these two teams couldn't be more similar in the way that they're built, and they early in the season have those kind of colossal battles that we've seen. Makes me very excited to see this game on Saturday. So what do they look like this year, and what are you hoping to kind of execute strategically, knowing you have a first-time starting quarterback lined up with Jonathan Thomas, and this is your home opener this year. You don't know what kind of the jitters and excitement you're going to have there, and the fact that you're still playing a very good opponent.
Well, knowing Coach Wilmer, and he and I have become friends throughout the last 2 years because he's a good man, number one, but his teams are always really good, and they're gonna be very similar to Missouri Valley in the fact that what they're gonna do. They're not gonna come out and try and trick you. They're not gonna come out and line up in some crazy offense. They're gonna come out with 2 tight ends that are gonna be very good. They're gonna be very skilled and very fast at receiver. They lost both of their running backs for this year, but Coach Norberg told me today that they're every bit as good as they were last year at that position. And defensively, they're just as fast as any defense we've seen so far, including Baker. And so, it's one of those things that you know what you're going to get, so you know that if you go execute the game plan that we should be fine. But if you don't, then it could get overwhelming really fast. And so we're hoping that our experience, because we're as experienced as any team we've ever had on offense this year, we're hoping that we can, maintain the football, keep it away from their offense because their quarterback is good and he's as experienced as anyone they have on their offense. So we need to keep the ball away from them. And we think that, our game plan going in is to possess the football, don't turn the football over, and then just try and create an extra opportunity or two through our defense getting a turnover or through the kicking game, blocking a punt or blocking a kick. And so, we think that if we can do those things, that we'll give ourselves every opportunity to win the game. And that could probably be said against anybody we play this year.
Last question for you, Coach. Who's one guy do you think is either poised for have a big game this Saturday, or you think if they do have a big game could really tip the scales in your team's favor?
Carl Sybils. Carl Civils is a slot. We've done some things to try and get him the ball a little bit. You know, Grant Smallwood had a long touchdown run last week, and he's as dynamic and as fast as anybody we have. But you know, Carl being a leader on our team, you know, we've made a conscious effort to try and do some things for him, and you know, hopefully he can have a breakout game. He did last year against them, and we think he can again this week.
Yeah, a local kid out of Washington, Iowa.
Yep.
So a lot of local flavor for this Penn team.
Love
and
it.
a lot of success. That's awesome, Coach. Coach Hafner will be roaming the sidelines. That'll be coming up this Saturday. Noon kickoff, right, Coach?
Navy out.
And you're navying out. Anything that you want to bring that's Navy, you'll want to bring to this game, you can check it out. We're going to go on the air live on 99.5 FM and AM 740 KMZN and RadioKMZN.com right around 11:45 for the noon kickoff. Mid-American Nazarene against 23rd ranked William Penn. Coach, thanks so much for joining us. Good luck Saturday.
Thank you. Appreciate for having me.
Coach Todd Hafner, William Penn University football. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll talk cross country, Oski cross country to be exact. Coach Mike Comfort will be joining us right after this on the Hy-Vee Homestretch on the No Coast Network.
If you like to save money and save time, then this is what you'd call a really big deal. HyVeeDeals.com is where you'll find hundreds of deals, all on one mobile-friendly website. HyVeeDeals.com makes saving money easy with digital coupons, weekly ads, fuel savers, and more. For one-stop savings, start here. Get all the latest deals at HyVeeDeals.com today. Celebrate National Family Meals Month and save at Hy-Vee. Boneless top loin pork chops, 5 for $5, plus a 5-cent fuel saver. Hy-Vee green beans or corn, just 29 cents. Dole shredded lettuce, 88 cents. Gala apples, just 99 cents a pound. And get Hy-Vee yogurt for only 50 cents. Buy 10 to earn a 10-cent fuel saver. Help victims of Hurricane Harvey. Donate $1 at checkout, and Hy-Vee will match up to $100,000.
We're back here live from your hometown, Oskaloosa Hy-Vee. It's the Hy-Vee Homestretch. My next guest is the cross-country coach at Oskaloosa High School, Mike Comfort. Coach, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
All right, we talked last time before the season started. Season's in full swing. You had a really busy week the last week or so. Take me through kind of what the team's looked like so far. I know you don't typically have to worry about running so frequently in actual competition, but that's kind of been the story for Oskaloosa Cross Country the last week or so.
Yeah, we had 3 meets pretty recently, and we like to do that at the beginning of the season, just get some racing experience just to see where we're at. So we went pretty hard the first weeks of practice. We backed off a little bit and raced, and now we're through the kind of our gauntlet, and now we can focus on 1 meet a week. We had Williamsburg last week. Our boys won that meet, which is great. It was our goal. A lot of good teams there, and so we felt like we could feel pretty good about ourselves after that. The guys went to Pella on Saturday and they got 4th. We beat Nevada, who's number 8. Lost to Gilbert, who's number 1. And Glenwood is ranked. So some really good competition. They're probably the best we've ever run there. Came back to Grinnell on Tuesday and they ran all right. We're pretty tired. I'm not really surprised by that. Girls have had some really good meets. Like I said, pretty young. I think I said that last time, but they're definitely farther along than I thought they'd be. They ran at Pella, the best we've ever run there as well. Had a great meet at Williamsburg and Grinnell. So pretty happy with where both teams are at. They're both kind of were what I thought they would be before the season, which can be good, good from the standpoint of no negative surprises. But yeah, it's pretty good.
You sent me the results from the Grinnell meet on Tuesday, and the first thing that you said in the email is just like, we were running on tired legs, but when I look at those times, I look at the way that your team still ran, there was still a solid pack there, just a little farther back than you'd seen earlier in the Williamsburg and Pella meets, and that's just going to happen with fatigue as much as you guys have run. With that being the case, Carter Heiser still finished in the top 5 in that meet. He's, it seems like just a real rock that you can depend on him to go get you some points early. And I know that you want to kind of get guys as close to the front to run with them as possible, but how important is it to have that measuring stick that you can rely on each and every meet?
It's really big. Before the season started, I told him we needed him to be what I called a low stick. So you need to be in the top 5 pretty consistently, because even if you have a good pack, you do need to have that quick guy up there. So he was at state last year. He wants to be in the top 15. So he's been great to depend upon. And I think we're a team, we're going to have Carter up front, we're going to have a pretty strong pack of 4, and our next 4 have been pretty much within 5-10 seconds of each other. So it's important. I mean, you can have a good 5 together, but I think you really need to have at least one guy up there. Like he's been doing great.
Yeah, those names, Talon Munger, Jack Miller, Jacob Spears, Gareth Stefanik, also Jacob Hacker, and Caleb Caden Gerard. I got the names right there. But you know, all those guys are within a couple minutes of each other as a whole, which is good. You know, just that foundation to know that you're close together, and you can always work on trying to get those guys a little bit closer to that pack. And then of course being fresh is the other thing. So when you look at the girls side of things, they kind of have that low stick as well, maybe not as consistently in the top 5 necessarily, but Lauren Kuhn was a great understudy, and in fact was pretty much an equal of Sienna DeYoung's last year, and this year off to a really good start, finished 11th on Tuesday. What have you seen from her in the early going?
I think the experience is kind of starting to set in. She's been able to rely on Sienna the last 2 years. I think she kind of went into autopilot at meets and just would latch on to her, let her lead. Then if she felt good, she'd pass her or just follow her. So I think the maturity of, hey, I'm a junior now. I've done this before. I know what to do now. I need to lead this team. That's what I challenged her with for this season. I said, you're the leader now, or one of the leaders, but you're the only one with state experience. And I think she's done a great job with that. And she's one that she's just missed being All-State. She's been in top 15s All-State, and she's been 16th before and pretty close as well. So I just have been challenging every week, hey, if you want to take that next step, you need to really step up your game, and she's done that. So it's been great to see that from her. She
finished 11th, as mentioned. Leah Wilcox, Aaliyah Cheney, who's another good multi-sport athlete, Lindy Slocum, Abby Lumsden, Grace Verstig, and Aniston McDougall, all on the varsity list that we saw on Tuesday. So those are the names that are looking to try to improve and help this team. So now that we're kind of getting into the middle of this season, the thick of the season, we know, and we've said this, it doesn't matter how well you run all season long. It's when that district meet comes that you have to run the right race. What kind of steps do you want to take to try to improve this team, each of your teams as a whole, before that happens in the next 6 to 8 weeks?
We just want to focus on each meet. We have certain teams we want to perform well against. And so on Tuesday at our home meet, Clear Creek Amana is coming. They're a team that's at state last year. Very good program. So we want to try to beat them, because we know if we beat them, we're pretty good. Williamsburg's a program that's been consistently good since when I ran. We've kind of gone back and forth this year. We beat them last week. They got us on Tuesday. So our focus is on beating those teams. On the girls' side as well, I got Williamsburg is good, Ottumwa's good, Newton's good. So our focus is each week, okay, who are the best teams that are going to be there? Who are the teams that we think could potentially qualify for state? And then we want to try to beat them. And that's just our focus each week. And the schedule sets up that we have some good teams every meet. So some people ask me why we don't necessarily win a ton of meets. It's like, well, we're going against 3 or 4 top 10 teams every week. And so that's really our focus. It's time secondary. It's about beating the other team.
And that's because a lot of it is the variable of the course. And you mentioned the next meet you guys have is a huge one, not only for your team, but for a lot of teams and for Mahaska County, because you'll see a lot of local teams, a lot of area teams making a trip to Oskaloosa, to Edmondson Park, for what every cross-country coach that I've talked to from around the area seems to think this is one of the more challenging courses that their kids are going to have to run all season. So before we talk about the meet and how it's going to work, let's talk about the course in general. And how do you, what kind of course do you run for those familiar with Edmondson Park, kind of the route that the high schoolers will run, and how you like your kids to approach it?
Well, it starts by the pool and pretty much finishes by the pool. It's pretty much hills all the way, which is what cross country, in my opinion, should be. It's what it used to be. Way back when they invented cross country, you'd run over fences, you'd run over hay bales. It was legit challenging. Nowadays, I think we're getting to the age where we're too concerned with time when it's flat. But it's hilly all the way, so the times would be slower. But our kids are just confident because we train in it all the time. They were even talking today. I was challenging for our goals for the meet. They felt very confident. So this is our course. It's tough. We've run this 1,000 times, and so that's just what I talked to them about. This is our course. We know how to do this. And I think the first time you run it, it's a shock to the system, and I see that from a lot of teams. And so, I don't know, nothing really different. We're confident, and we just try to go out and beat the teams that we want to beat.
When you're running this course at Edmondson Park, and I've actually been there at Edmondson for a meet, and it's kind of overwhelming seeing as many kids as we'll see show up to these meets, because you have the middle schoolers who run first and then the high schoolers to follow, and you just see, I mean, I would venture to say hundreds and hundreds of kids that are there from probably 15 schools that'll be represented in all of those, girls, boys, middle school, high school, for this meet. And you see all those kids how does the early portion of those races kind of work for you as a coach? How do you want your kids to kind of run? Because there's a lot of traffic, and either at this particular course or any other course, what is kind of the idea at that starting line? Because, you know, even I've run a 5K, and I just kind of wanted to be at the back. I just didn't want to have to deal with a lot of body traffic around me and be able to just kind of pick them off as I run. How do you like your team to approach that?
Positioning that first mile is so important. I think a lot of people think that, hey, you got 3 miles. If I hang back, I can make up that gap. But really, what I've seen, I think there's some studies on it, and also what I've seen in my experience is you're only going to gain probably about 5 to 10 spots after mile 1. And so we want the kids to get out. We want to be smart. You don't want to sprint the first mile. I had a kid I coached one time at a different school. I talked about getting out, and he sprinted the first 800 meters, and he got almost last. But you want to position yourself well. You want to be within 5 to 10 spots of where we want to finish at. And then mile 2 is just about moving up. And then mile 3 is about just finishing hard. It sounds really basic like that, but it's certainly more challenging than it sounds. But that's essentially what we want to do.
The science behind running, we talked a lot about it the last time you were on the show, but what I want to know now about this particular meet is, you know, you have big schools like Ottumwa and Newton here, you have schools your size, you know, that are within the conference that are making the trip, and teams like Williamsburg, Clear Creek, and Manna. And then you have little schools that'll also be here, like the Twin Cedars of the world, that'll be making the trip here to Oskaloosa. So we start all the action, 4:30 is when the gun will fire for the middle school meet, and the high schoolers will start at 5 o'clock. So take me through, for somebody who might be interested in seeing these athletes run, it's not you're standing out there for 3 hours waiting for this thing to finish. This is a pretty quick hitting event, and it's fun to watch the kids run and cheer them on and see them get, you know, smiles on their faces. They, you know, hear some people that cheering them on. How does it all work over there at Edmondson Park? So
4:30 we start the middle school girls, and they do a 1.5 miles, and it's essentially a 1 loop. They do half the high school course, and then about 15 minutes later, we'll do the middle school boys. They'll do a lap, and then 5 o'clock the high school starts, and it's just their race is 5K, which is 2 laps, and essentially every half an hour we're kind of trying to roll through races. But it comes quick. I mean, you're looking at middle school 1.5 miles. Oof, I don't know. You get people under 10 minutes. You got people that take a little bit longer than that, but high school, you talk about your fastest runners would be for guys 16, 17 minutes. Girls, you're looking at 18, 19, 20 minutes. So that's kind of about approximately how long it takes. But so if you're looking at high school, each lap, you're looking at 8, 9 minutes, depending on the boys or girls race. So and the thing I like about Edmondson is that you can stand kind of in the center, which is kind of by, that bridge, and you can see the kids come by 2, 3, 4 times. So there's just always action going on. There's fans running around. It's, you know, it's a spectator sport, but you can't sit still. Right. So it's just nonstop, controlled chaos action, and I think the kids feed off that adrenaline. Yeah, even the middle school, even our high school team watching the middle school race, when we see our kids do well, it gets the girls jacked up, and then the girls run well, and the guys can kind of feel that. So I think it's a great atmosphere that can really positively affect a performance.
Having been to Edmondson for one of these meets, I can tell you chaos is a great word for it. It's it's a massive humanity, and everybody's moving all over the place. It's like an amoeba, you know. You have the runners, and then all the fans kind of moving to different spots to, you know, yell and cheer for these kids. So I can't wait. That's going to be on Tuesday, and the meet's going to start 4:30 for middle schoolers. High school will start around 5 o'clock. Several area schools will be involved. Coach Mike Comfort, thanks so much. Congrats on an early season. We'll talk to you later this year.
Thank you.
All right, that's Mike Comfort. He is the cross-country coach at Oskaloosa High School. We'll take another break. When we come back, we'll talk volleyball, EBF volleyball to be exact. Their head coach, Gladys Jinsko, will be joining me right after the break on the HyVeeHomestretch on the No Coast Network.
If you like to save money and save time, then this is what you'd call a really big deal. HyVeeDeals.com is where you'll find hundreds of deals, all on one mobile-friendly website. HyVeeDeals.com makes saving money easy with digital coupons, weekly ads, fuel savers, and more. For one-stop savings, start here. Get all the latest deals at HyVeeDeals.com today. Celebrate National Family Meals Month and save at Hy-Vee. Boneless top loin pork chops, 5 for $5, plus a 5-cent fuel saver. Hy-Vee green beans or corn, just 29 cents. Dole shredded lettuce, 88 cents. Gala apples, just 99 cents a pound. And get Hy-Vee yogurt for only 50 cents. Buy 10 to earn a 10-cent fuel saver. Help victims of Hurricane Harvey. Donate $1 at checkout, and Hy-Vee will match up to $100,000.
Back here with my final guest this evening on the HyVeeHomestretch. I'm joined by EBF volleyball coach Gladys Jinsko. Coach, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Last time we talked was about track and field, I believe, earlier this year. So you were able to, again, kind of change your focus back to volleyball, which has, I would say, and I talked to Coach Tony Fenton about this, at EBF, it's kind of all of his, like his softball program, the basketball programs, the baseball, track and field, they're all kind of shooting to get to this level of success that your volleyball program's been able to enjoy the last decade or so. This year, you guys started ranked 13th in the state, and you're up a class in Class 3A. No longer ranked as it stands right now, a 6-5 start, but you have a lot of new faces on this team that are asked to do some important jobs. You don't see Hagen Boyer out there anymore, you know, and even going back a few years to the Carly Taylors, these are some high-level athletes and volleyball players, but you still have some good athletes you're trying to develop. Take me through kind of the early going this season and how you feel about the way your team's performed.
You know, so far this year, you know, like you said, we don't have a Carly Taylor, we don't have a Hagen Boyer, and you know, but so far we've been pretty successful. You know, going in looking at the season of, you know, I've done this for 18 years now, and you kind of know kind of the way your team's going to be based on kind of the players you're going to have. You know, I have the last Alexander girl here. She's a senior, you know, and she's hitting really tough, you know. And I've got an experienced setter, you know, and with Emma Bonnell, and you know, we're struggling right now with our passing. You know, losing Hagen Boyer, who was our key player for the last 4 years, and you can always count on a pass. I've got new people in that position, you know, and I think the biggest struggle right now is, you know, having a libero that has any experience. I've got a freshman, you know, that I have in that role, but you know, she's got some really good things, but she just, you know, needs some more practice and some more game experience. And you know, going into the season, I mean, I kind of knew that, you know, we were going to be inexperienced in some of those areas, but you know, now the season's hit and it's like, yeah, we are inexperienced, but you know, that's okay. I guess you play what you got and you do what you got to try to make it the best you can. And I even got a freshman middle this year too, and I've moved a couple other people around, you know, that were in different spots last year too. So it's like, I feel like there's only a couple positions really right now that are, you know, kind of stable. They're used to those positions. So, you know, even though, yes, it's still early on in the season, we're still learning some places, and I think we'll still be successful. Yes, being ranked 13 to start, I mean, we've had that before, and you know, sometimes
a lot of respect.
It does, and that's one thing that I kind of smile about. Is that, yeah, over some of these years, we've actually gained some respect. You know, so in falling out of the rankings, that doesn't surprise me at all. But you know, I guess it comes time when you get to postseason after you've gained a lot of experience, and these kids, the younger kids especially, have grown and improved. That, you know, maybe we can have a shot to get back in there and get some, you know, I don't know if we get a ranking, but maybe some surprises along the way. Well,
you guys still have 5, 6, 7 weeks to get this thing completely figured out before those, you know, postseason games start, and nobody wants to play EBF in the postseason. You guys always typically draw a pretty tough region to play in, but now in Class 3A again, larger schools, I mean, I would argue 3 years ago when we went to state that the Class 2A bracket could have beat any other bracket. There was just so much talent within that Class 2A with the Anna Keels of the world that weren't even going to EBF that are just impossible to stop. I think you still have to respect the fact that, yes, we're in 3A now. There's a lot more, you know, talent, and the numbers are bigger now that we're in that, you know, bigger class. So with that being the case, and you look at these names, a lot, the first thing I was going to say is there's a lot of youth on this team for a team that was ranked 13th. You know, Tori Alexander, you know, you got Lacey, Tara, Tasha, and now we're down to Tori, and she's taking it in stride right now. She's hitting close to 300, which is superb, and that's always good to have a go-to player like that. And she's serving over 90%, which you just don't want one of your more reliable players to have an 80% serve success rate, even if they are getting, you know, 2 aces a set. Sometimes you just want to keep the ball in your possession. So to have a reliable player like this as a senior leader who you've known since she's just this little tyke while you're coaching her sisters, how important has it been to see her develop and for her to be a key cog in this year's team?
You know, she's been out there since she's a freshman on the varsity varsity level, and she's grown in that position, you know, all of those years. And this year I've really seen her step up because she has to be the leader of the whole team. And she's done a wonderful job. I was just talking to her parents the other night about how I'm really impressed at how she's really came up to be, you know, not just a leader with just what she does physically, but she's, you know, vocal leader and just helping kids and things like that. And it's just really special to see her grow just in that department. But, you know, she leads by example. She's such a wonderful person, you know, as all through these 4 years to have her on the team. And she's just really grown into, you know, special gal, you know.
You know, and one of the cool things about schools like Eddyville, Blacksburg, Fremont is you see the girls so many times during the year. So I get to see them in volleyball, I see them in basketball, I see them track and field, sure, and then softball, of course, one of my favorite sports, to see them all out there. EBF seeing a lot of success in all of these sports throughout the year now. So these are well-rounded athletes. They're not just, you know, even Carly Taylor, who was a phenomenal volleyball player and is playing collegiate volleyball on a Division I level. She was a great basketball player as well. So having that with these athletes, you know, you have some athleticism to work with. So I guess my question for you is, who are some of these underclassmen that really have stuck out to you so far, and you say, you know what, by the time they're an upperclassman or they're a senior, we have an all-conference player we're talking about?
Yeah, you know, one of them that's right now, that's our libero. Her name's Emily Davis, and she's just one of those girls that she's so quick, and you know, and she's just so raw right now that, you know, you can teach her anything, and she just picks up really fast, and she can learn. She's starting to really read defense, and that's probably one of the toughest things for anybody that plays back row. If they can read defense, they're going to be pretty good. That's one thing, you know, with Hagen Boyer right away, she picked that up and could read defense, so you can always get to where you got to get to before the ball gets there, and that's what the key is, you know. And then another freshman we have is Brooke Schaefer. Her sister used to play, which was Paige Schaefer, was our setter way back in 2013, 14.
She did some state stuff as well.
She did. She really did. And so she's been around the game for quite a long time too. But she's a jumper. She's got long arms, you know, and she doesn't make a lot of mistakes, you know. But sometimes, yes, you can see that she's just a freshman, and same with Emily, because you just don't have that varsity level game experience. And those things, you know, being in those key positions right now, you know, that's what we struggle with, you know, just the mental part of the game and what's happening through the game. If they're not those leaders yet, you know, because they're really young.
You have a conference that is intriguing in a lot of sports, but in volleyball, you guys have gone fairly untested for a while. That's really not the case anymore, considering how improved some of these schools are that you're playing. You beat Clark in 4 sets the other night, and which you can't take anything for granted in this, you know, in this conference, but in your volleyball season as well, knowing you have these big tournaments that you go to, but you also have these one time, if we're not playing good tonight, we're going to lose, and it's going to cost us in conference standings, which will also affect our seeding potentially, and the fact that we may not get home games when regional play comes. So what's the difference in the way that you try to approach, especially with a young team, these early season conference games, and also these Saturday tournaments like the one you're going to this Saturday, where you're going to get multiple games in a day to try to work on some things, and you'll have a quick turnaround to try to, you know, if you have a bad game, you can get right back out there and try to do better.
We've talked about how right now we're just working with ourselves, trying to be able to pass it. It's just a struggle. Like I tell them all the time, if you can't pass, you can't play the game. You know, so we've worked so much on just passing stuff in practice, and we talk about that, you know, when we get started in a game, it's not about who we're playing with us and trying to just be better that way, because then once we can get the ball to our setter, we've got hitters that can hit the ball. Just right now the struggle with passing. We're even very strong serving right now too, and I think that's really gotten us through, you know, a lot of our games that we've struggled passing, especially just the other night with Clark. I mean, mentally, since these kids are young, I even have another sophomore that comes in the back row that, you know, she's young too, a junior that plays on the outside, you know, not quite as young, but still, she's just a junior, a sophomore that's playing opposite Tori. I mean, so technically they're kind of pretty young, but they were scared Monday night from what they told me. I said, what happened at the beginning of the game? We were scared. It was our first home game, you know. So those are just the things that you get from inexperience, and so it takes them a while to get, you know, kind of warmed up with what they're doing, gain some confidence, and then just, you know, focus back in and do some things that they can do well. But we're just not consistent with that yet. You see the glimpses of good things, you know, especially of the good things we've had in the past. It's not there yet, but, you know, we're working towards that.
Well, you mentioned Grace Roberts, the sophomore. I did want to mention this quick stat. Although her kill efficiency isn't super high, under 100 right now, she is serving over around 93% success rate with almost an ace per set, which is a combination of around 1 ace per set and 90% plus in terms of efficiency for a sophomore. Those are some really impressive numbers, so you definitely have a player to work with there. Well, I'm interested is you're going to a big school tournament here at Southeast Polk on Saturday. What are you hoping to accomplish this Saturday? 6-5 on the year. Not, obviously, I think a lot of coaches in the state of Iowa would love to be 6-5 with a young team like you have right now. So what are you looking for playing what will be a very tough schedule up there at Southeast Polk on Saturday?
First of all, start out again, we've got to be able to pass the ball. We haven't really seen tough servers. Which I know some of these, we get to play some of these higher level teams, especially in Class 5A. They serve pretty tough, but they're not impossible. And we'll see some of that, especially playing Valley. They're going to be tough.
Sounds really fun.
But you know what? It seems like a lot of times that when we've played some of these tough teams, we have played to the level. I mean, I've seen that so many years that, we play to the level of the other team. But sometimes that surprises us when we play a higher level team. We're like, wow, we played really well. Why can't we do that with, some other teams that maybe don't have that skill? So I'm hoping that, we can play up to that level and do some things that we just don't get the chance to see with some of the other area teams in our conference and things. And as long as we just try to serve aggressively and, be able to get the ball to pass and be able to, hit through some blocks, around the blocks, or use some blocks, we'll be okay. They need to improve personally within themselves, and we just got to start with the passing aspect, because I think the other stuff, I think we do pretty well, a little bit better than most in our area, but we're just struggling with that first aspect.
Well, 11 games in, still plenty left to play. Things that I can rely on: death, taxes, and Eddyville, Blacksburg, Fremont volleyball being a really tough out in regional play. So Coach Dinsko, they will be, as mentioned, playing on Saturday in the Southeast Polk tournament, and they still have a ton of their schedule left, 5 to 6 weeks left of regular season action, and then we'll get into regional play. Coach, hopefully we'll get you on at least once more before we get close to regional play, see how the girls are progressing, and thanks so much for joining us here on the HyVee Homestretch.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me.
That is Gladys Chinsko. She is the volleyball coach at Eddyville, Blacksburg, Fremont High School. We'll take another break. When we come back, we'll wrap it up, let you know what's happening the rest of this week right here on the No Coast Network.
If you like to save money and save time, then this is what you'd call a really big deal. HyVeeDeals.com is where you'll find hundreds of deals, all on one mobile-friendly website. HyVeeDeals.com makes saving money easy with digital coupons, weekly ads, fuel savers, and more. For one-stop savings, start here. Get all the latest deals at HyVeeDeals.com today. Celebrate National Family Meals Month and save at Hy-Vee. Boneless top loin pork chops, 5 for $5, plus a 5-cent fuel saver. Hy-Vee green beans or corn, just 29 cents. Dole shredded lettuce, 88 cents. Gala apples, just 99 cents a pound. And get Hy-Vee yogurt for only 50 cents. Buy 10 to earn a 10-cent fuel saver. Help victims of Hurricane Harvey. Donate $1 at checkout, and Hy-Vee will match up to $100,000.
Welcome back. We are live here one final time from your hometown Oskaloosa HyVee on the HyVee Homestretch. Just a few things we want to remind you of coming up the next few days. Tomorrow night, football night here in the listening area. Oskaloosa football going to be live on the air. They take on Fort Madison here in Oskaloosa at Lacey Recreation Complex. If you can't make it to the game, be sure to tune in 99.5 FM or AM 740 KMZN. You can also watch a live HD video stream with the help of the Oskaloosa Video Production Program at Oskaloosa High School. That is going to be on RadioKMZN.com and MCG Channel 7. On 104.9 FM KBOE, KBOEradio.com. Kylie Broadway, Brian Myers. They'll be in Albia. PCM taking on Albia as part of our Game of the Week, so be sure to check that out. That is going to be starting right around 7 o'clock as well as the Oskaloosa game. So that is what we have lined up, 7 p.m. on both sides of the dial. That is going to be coming up tomorrow night on Football Friday night. After the games go final, be sure to tune in for Scores and More, presented by Bubbler. We'll have all of the scores. Taylor Howard will be giving you all of the scores, all of the action of what's happening in the listening area, and reports from various games that are happening with our area teams. You're not going to want to miss that. Also, there's going to be some stuff to give away. You won't want to miss it. Live after the Game of the Week goes final on KBOE and also on KMZN will be Scores and More presented by Bubbler. Then as we advance into Saturday, be sure to tune in for the Indian Power Hour. That is going to be live at 9 a.m. on 99.5 FM and AM 740 KMZN and RadioKMZN.com as Cade Snickenberg, a couple of his friends, a lot of athletes and activities that we'll be mentioning on the Indian Power Hour. That is a show presented by high schoolers over at Oskaloosa High School for the community of Oskaloosa. That is 9 a.m. on KMZN Saturday morning. And also starting at 9 a.m. on 104.9 FM KBOE, Iowa at Iowa State football. It's the big rivalry. Be sure to check that out. That is going to be starting at 9 o'clock for that broadcast as well. And then, of course, William Penn will be playing, as we mentioned, at 11:45. Our broadcast starts on KMZN as well. That'll wrap things up. I'd like to thank all of our guests tonight. For our director, Titus Letzring, and our producer back in the studios, Alyssa Phillips. This is Emery Sunger signing off. The Hy-Vee Homestretch on the No Coast Network.